Alright, so number 2, the practice test. It says solve by substitution. So you have negative 3x minus 3y is equal to 3, and y equals negative 5x minus 17. So what would we have to do? Yes, plug this in for the y. So I have negative 3x minus 3, and now we have negative 5x minus 17 is equal to 3. Right? So we're going to distribute. So I have negative 3x, negative is positive, 3 times 5 is 15x, negative 3 times negative 17 is 51 equals 3. Combine like terms, I get 12x plus 51 is equal to 3. I'm going to subtract 51, so I have 3 minus 51. So 12x is equal to a negative 48, and then divide by 12. So x is equal to a negative 4. Then we put it into the y, so we have y is equal to negative 5x, which is negative 4, minus 17. So I have negative 5 times negative 4 minus 17 gives me a 3. Remember, you can always plug it in, the top one, since we just use this one, plug it in to see if it works. So we have negative 3 times my negative 4 minus 3 times 3, that equals 3. Let's see if it works. It should work in both. So we have negative 3 times negative 4 minus 3 times 3, and that's 3. You could check the bottom one too, they both should work. So 3 is equal to a negative 5 times negative 4 minus 17. So negative 5 times negative 4 minus 17 is also 3. So it works. So our x, that's just checking it. So you can guarantee you're right. So our y is 3 and our x is negative 4. Alright, solve by elimination. So I have to look at this and say, what can I multiply the top and bottom by to get rid of one? Well, I can see this is just plain old y, so I'm going to multiply that one by a negative 3. So I'm going to bring this top down. So I have negative 2x plus 3y is equal to a negative 7 or negative 19. I'm going to multiply that whole top row by a negative 3. So I have negative 7 times negative 3 gives me 21. X. Negative 3 times 1 is negative 3y is equal to negative 19 times negative 3 is 57. I'm going to add down, so I have 21 minus 2 is 19x. Y's are gone is equal to 57 minus 19 is 38. And then I have to divide by 19. So I have 38 divided by 19 is 2. So I know x is 2. Well, find out what y is. So you can plug it into either one, but I might as well plug it into that one. So I have negative 7 times 2 plus y equals negative 19. We have negative 14 plus y is equal to negative 19. Add 14, y is equal to a negative 5. I'm going to plug it into the bottom just to make sure it works. Negative 2 I'm just checking. So I have negative 2 times 2 plus 3 times negative 5. So I have negative 2 times 2 plus 3 times negative 5 equals negative 19. And that's what it's supposed to be. So that is right. Alright. Solve by any method. Linear combination looks to be the best. So I'm gonna use linear combination, and I'm gonna multiply the bottom by 3. So I have bring the top, negative 4x plus 9y is equal to 9. Multiply the bottom by 3 gives me 3x minus 9y is equal to negative 6 times 3 is 18 negative. Add down, I get negative x is equal to a negative 9, x is 9. Well, if x is 9, let's find out what y is. I'm going to plug it in to the matter of the bottom, I guess. So I have x minus 3y is equal to a negative 6. 9 minus 3y is equal to a negative 6. Subtract 9. Negative 3y is equal to negative 6 minus 9 is negative 15. Y is 5. Y is 5. And we know what x is. Since I used that, I'm going to use the top just to check it out, see if it's right. So negative 4 times 9 plus 9 times my y is 5, and it's 9. So that's right also. Alright. Looking here, looking at all of them to see if anything would just drop out. Nothing will just drop out. So I'm going to use I am going to use 1 and 2. I'm going to use 1 and 2, and I'm going to get rid of my z's. I'm going to get rid of my z's. So if I use 1 and 2, and I'm going to get rid of my z's, I'm going to put, should have done it the other way, but that's okay. 2 is negative 5x plus 3y plus 6z, and I equals negative 4. I want this to be negative. I want this to be a negative 6. So what do I have to multiply this by? Yeah, 2. So I have 2 times negative 3 is negative 6x. Then 2 times negative 1 is negative 2y. And then 2 times negative 3 is negative 6z, which is equal to negative 16. Add down. My z's cancel out. So I'm left with negative 11x and 1y, which is equal to a negative 20. Then I have to use 3 and 3 and see, and I have to get rid of my z's. So 3 and I guess I'll use 1 again. I still have to get rid of my z's. So which one do you think I'm going to multiply something by? Yep, the third one. And I'm going to multiply it by 3. So I'm going to bring down my first. I have negative 3x minus y minus 3z is equal to a negative 8. And I'm going to multiply this one by 3. So we have 6 times 3 is 18, so it's negative 18x minus 3 and 4 is 12, y plus 3z is equal to negative 60. So we have, adding down, z's cancel out again. I have 18, 21, negative x minus 13y is equal to a negative 68. So now I have to get one of them to drop out, so I'm going to get the y's to drop out. So I'm going to multiply this one by positive 13. So I have 13 times a negative 11 is a negative 143x plus 13y is equal to, and I gotta scoot that over, sorry about that. Should have done the whole screen. I don't know how much you couldn't see, sorry. Scoot that over a little bit more. So I'm going 20 times negative 20 times 13 is a negative 260. And then I'm bringing this over, negative 21x minus 13y is equal to a negative 68. I don't like that. Sorry guys, I'm gonna make this a little bit better. Equals a negative 260. Alright, so we have a negative 260 and a negative 68 is a negative 328. Y's are gone, and we have a negative 143 minus 21 gives me a negative 164x. So I have to take negative 328, divide that by a negative 164, x is 2. Alright, so I solved for 1, huh? So x is 2. We can find out what y is by using this one, or this one, it doesn't really matter. Might as well just use this one since it's down there. So we have negative 21 times x, which is 2, minus 13y is equal to a negative 68. 21 times 2 is 42, so I have negative 42 minus 13y is equal to a negative 68. So I have negative 68 plus 42, because I add 42 to both sides. Negative 13y is equal to a negative 26. Divide that by negative 13 is y is 2. So I know that x is 2, y is also 2, but I have to find out what z is. How can I find out what z is? Yeah, plug it into any of these. Since there's only one z there, I'm going to use that equation. So I'm going to come back up here, and I have negative 6x minus 4y plus z is equal to a negative 20. So I have, plugging it in, negative 6 times 2 is a negative 12, minus 4 times 2 is 8, plus z is equal to a negative 20. And all I did was put that in for here and my y also. So I have, that is also 20, so z is 0. Because we have negative 20 plus z is equal to a negative 20. Add 20 to both sides, z is 0. Let's check it out. One more equation. If it works in one more, it probably will work in all three, so you don't have to really do them all. But it's always good to check at least one. So negative 3 times 2 minus 2 minus 0, because 3 times 0 is 0, negative 8. So that's right. So my final answer is x is 2, y is 2, and z is 0. And remember, that is where all these three lines intersect. Alright, that's 5. Alright. Number 6. Alright, Kayla's school is selling tickets for an annual dance competition. The first day of tickets, they sold 3 senior citizen tickets and 5 children tickets, and they brought in $70. The school took in $216 on the second day by selling 12 senior tickets and 12 children's tickets. Find the price of the 2 tickets. So the first thing we know that we have is we have child and we have senior citizen. So I'm going to call my child my X and my senior citizen my Y. And I'm going to go back through and read it. It says that on the first day they sold 3 seniors. So we had 3Y and 5 children. So 5Y or 5X. And that totaled $70. Then, on the second day, they had $216 is the money by selling 12 seniors, and remember seniors is Y, so that's 12Y, and 12 child, so it's also 12X. So now the question is, what can I do to get rid of something? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to multiply the top by negative 4. So I'm going to multiply this by negative 4. Shouldn't have probably put that line there, but that's okay. I'm going to go and multiply it. So I have negative 4 times 5 gives me a 20x. Negative 4 and 3 gives me a negative 12y. Negative 4 times 70. So I have 70 times a negative 4 gives me a negative 280. Then I'm going to add down. So right here I have 32. Nope, it's negative. That should have been negative 20. Sorry. So I have negative 20 plus 12 gives me a negative 8x. These are gone, equals negative 280 plus 216 is a negative 64. Divide by negative 8. So x is 8. So since x is 8, I can find out by y by plugging it in. So we have 5 times 8 plus 3y is equal to 70, just using the top one. So I have 40 plus 3y is equal to 70. Subtract 40, 3y is equal to 30, so y is 10. So my final answer, and you got to make sure you write it, your final answer. The children's tickets are $8, so $8 for the children, and $10 for the senior tickets. You gotta tell me what you found. Don't just find it, because you gotta know what you found. Alright. Number 7. Number 7, it says, one number is 14 less than the second number. Twice the first number is 3 less than 3 times the second number. Find the numbers. So that means I have x being my first number and y being my second number. And reread it. It says one number, so that's x, is equals 14 less than twice the second. So we have 2y, 14 less than minus 14. Twice the first number, so that's 2x, is 3 less than 3 times the second. So we have 3y, and it says 3 less than, minus 3. So we have two unknowns, two equations. So you can solve it any way you want, but since this is already solved for x equals, I'm going to use substitution. So I'm going to sub this in for that x. So I have 2 times, now instead of x I'm going to put that, so 2y minus 14 is equal to 3y minus 3. Distribute, I have 2 times 2 is 4y minus 28 is equal to 3y minus 3. Then what am I going to do? Subtract 3y. Y minus 28 is equal to a negative 3. Add 28. Y is equal to 25. Then you have to find out what x is. X equals 2y minus 14. So x equals 2 times 25 minus 14. So 2 times 25 minus 14. So x is 36. Alright, to graph the inequalities, be sure to clarify the solution set. Alright, so we have here, the first thing I have to do is y equals, do the boundary, y equals negative 2/3 x plus 4. So I have to go to 4 and make a dot, and it says to go down 2, so I'm going to go down 1, 2, and I'm going to run 3, 1, 2, 3. Go down 2, run 3. And is this dotted or solid? It's dotted because there's no line there. Now, place your pen there, and it says that y's are less than the line. So y's are less than the line. Which are bigger, or which ones are smaller? Because y's are less than, y's are smaller. So 9 or negative 9. Negative is smaller, so that means we're shading down here. Alright. See if I have a pencil around here. I like doing these ones in pencil first, but I don't see one, so. Alright, so let's get this to the y by itself. So y is greater than negative 3x minus 3. I just subtracted. So I'm going to go to negative 3, put a dot. So I have down 3, 1, 2, 3, run 1. Down 3, 1, 2, 3, run 1. Is this solid or dotted? Dotted is right. And you can also go this way, 1, 2, 3, but you have to run this way 1. So I'm going to dot it. And it says, find out where we're shading. This one says that y's are greater than the line. So we're doing the greater than, so that means it's above the line. So this is above the line this way. And then let's see, this one says y is less than 2. So y equals 2, that means we're going through 2. So there's a line here, and it's dotted or solid. It's solid at 2. So now it says that y's are less than 2. Y's are below this line. So it's above this line and below that line. So that means this is what they have in common. And when it says be sure to clarify, that means if you did other things, erase it or tell me that this is where the answer is, because that's the solution. Okay. One last one. Alright, it says it makes mopeds and bicycles, so the place makes mopeds and bicycles. Experience shows that they must produce at least 10 mopeds per month to meet the customer's demand. The factory can produce at most 60 mopeds and 120 bicycles per month. The factory's profit is $134 on the moped and $20 on the bikes. They can produce at most 160 units combined. Alright, find the profit. So this profit sentence is the sentence we're going to worry about at the very end. We're not even going to worry about that right now. Alright, so we know that we're talking about mopeds and bikes. So we have mopeds and bikes. And what I would do is I would call my bikes my X, since it's alphabetical, and that my Y. And it says that they want to, for the mopeds, it says that they want to do at least 10, but the factory can produce at most 60. So the mopeds are going to be between 10 is going to be less than Y, which is less than 60. And then it says the bikes, the only thing they tell about the bikes is that they can't, the factory can produce at most 120 bikes. So X is going to be between 0, because it can't have less than 0, right? And 120. The two together, how much can they make between the two of them? 160. So that means X plus Y is going to be 160. Less than or equal to 160, because it doesn't have to be equal. So that is our inequality. So now we got to graph that. And you could kind of sketch it, but I think for when it becomes like this, when it comes to two of them, it's easier when you have graph paper. So I'm going to actually use my graph paper here. Alright, so we have the y's are going to be between between 10 and 60. X's are between 0 and 120, and we have to also graph this. So my t-chart, x, y, we want to put a 0 in for both. So when x is 0, y is, if we did 0 of these, we'd have 160 of those. If we did 0 of my mopeds, we'd have 160 there, right? So that means on my graph, I want this top number to be 160. And there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 lines. Now you don't have to always count it out evenly, but because this is a little bit more complicated, I'm going to actually try to count it out as best as I can. So this is going to be 160 up here, and I'm also going to have this at 160. So that means that if I have 10 of them, each one of these is going to be like 16. Alright, just so we can kind of guess or know where we're at. Alright, so my y's are between 10, so I have a y equals at 10. So at 10, I have a y equals line. Alright, that's 10. And then I have one at 60. So I'm going to take and find out where that is by going 60 divided by 16. So a little over, or almost 4. So here's 1, 2, 3, 4. So about right there. This is going to be my 60 line. Alright, so that's my y. So it's going to be somewhere in here. My x's are 120. So 120, divide that by 16 increments, is 7.5. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7.5. So we have a line here. Should be using straight edge, but I don't. So, all right. And now I have this one that I have to connect these two. Alright, so that means my boundaries are this point, that point, and this point, because it has to be less than, we have to, somewhere in here is what we're going to make on our mopeds and bikes. And it says that one of these will give us the maximum. Alright, so we have to find out what these points are. Alright, so the first one right here is going to be 0, 60. And I might as well put that down here. See if we can see it. So this one is 0, 60. This one right here, we don't know what the x is, but we know that the y is going to be 60, and it crosses with this line right there. And remember, that line was x plus y is equal to 160. So what plus 60 is 160? 100. Alright, so that gives me that point. This point right here, we know is crossing this line, which down here I should have labeled it, but do you remember what this one is right there? That was my 120. So x is 120. Well, it says 120 plus what gives me 160? 40. And then we just have this line right here. So my x is 120 and my y is 10. Alright. Then we have to go back and read that last one, and then I'll move it over. I'll put this down here, and I'll write it down here, and we'll use it. It says, the profit on a moped is 134, so it'll be 134 times Y. And $20 and on a bike is $20. So 20 times my bike, and my bike is X. Now the reason I put XY is it'll just make it easier for us, and that is equal to our profit. So you simply have to plug in each one of these. So we go 20 times 0 plus 134 times 60, and put that into your calculator. So I have 20 times 0, which is 0, plus 134 times 60 is 8040. Then you do this next one. So it's 20 times 100 plus 134 times 60 is equal to, so I have here 20 times 100 plus 134 times 60. I have 10,040. Doing this one, I have 20 times 120 plus 134 times 40. So I got 7,760. And the last one is 20 times 120 plus 134 times 10. Oops. So 20 times 120 plus 134 times 10, and that is 3,740. So what does that tell us? That tells us maximum profit of 10,040, and that's given by 100 bikes and 60 mopeds. Alright, well, good luck, and when you watch this, probably your test is on Tuesday, and we're going to start that right away. Alright, and good luck. Try to redo this on your own, so that, because you need to be quick at them. You can't, the more you do it, the quicker you'll be.